This Wednesday's full moon in Aquarius is a party, and it's a party where we're making new friends at. So let's imagine this. You're in a room full of people, and as parties go, there are smaller groups of people talking to each other. Now, if you were able to listen into what each of these smaller groups was talking about, they would each be sharing different versions of ultimately the same storyline. And that is a pretty vulnerable admission of grief, specifically for a sense of identity, a sense of self that this person, this speaker, has recognized is dead. So you're listening to this person share their story. It's very vulnerable and it's very honest, it's very authentic. And so you think to yourself, wow, this is so powerful. There's so much wisdom in the life of this person. I can't believe this isn't how they've always been, right? They're painting the picture of an identity that they have lost very deeply and are grieving. But you're listening and it's so beautiful, it's so profound. In these moments of this new party, new relationships can be formed. And these relationships are formed based on the shared experience of rising above the ashes or the remains of who we thought we were. So on Wednesday, July 29th, we will experience the full illumination, the electric charge of this new social group. So whether this party is showing up in your own home, outside of your home, in your own heart, maybe it's online, maybe it's in a dream, Wednesday will show us the brilliant clarity and power that exists within a network. To see exactly where this party is happening for you in your life, check out where 6 degrees of Aquarius falls in your birth chart, specifically what house, and let me know below. The sun is in Leo at the time of this full moon, making a exact conjunction to Jupiter in Leo, and the moon on the other side of the sky is in the sign of Aquarius, just a few degrees away from an opposition to Pluto. So the power that I see us deriving from this group, the power in the electricity of this social illumination, is nothing more than an immediate recognition that each one of us are truly just who we are, nothing more than ourselves. Each of us has a unique wisdom, and this wisdom has been cultivated over years and years. This wisdom is not something that's been attained. Each of our wisdom is not something that we've studied for or that we've learned. This is the wisdom that is accumulated through acting on your intuition over a lifetime, living out the intuitive hunches of who you are, and sometimes following this internal impulse to degrees and to ends that don't feel good either, to our own detriment. So this party and this wisdom and this group of people is showing us that no one has it right or wrong. No one is doing it better or worse than us, because we are so uniquely ourselves and we have such a life experience to prove just that. Each one of us is unique in that, but we share that we have committed to who we've known ourselves to be. We've been through journeys, and now we are reflecting honestly about it and how the journey of our life so far, the journey of who we are, how it's come to pass. The honesty that becomes available at this party is actually not that easy to admit. And it is the result of the buildup of pressure, even over the last few weeks coming up to this party. So what you can personally get out of this group is twofold. Another way to say that, why are you there? The first is, of course, to let yourself be witnessed in the expression of your unique wisdom that your life has given you and that you embody in your identity, in your personhood right here, right now. And secondly, it is to share vulnerably about the person you thought you were, how they are now effectively dead, how some part of you is gone. and the existential reckoning going on in your mind about how your life has played out. And of course, what you can offer to this group is simply the inverse, bearing witness to someone's vulnerable sharing, bearing witness to someone's bright wisdom and personal genius. And this is the type of witness where it is just that. We're not here to trauma bond with anyone or fix anyone. To the contrary, I think we will know naturally there will be natural paths created for deeper relationships to be built between the people we are meeting under the light of this full moon. That's not something we have to overthink. Astrologically, I see these two dual states of being at this full moon as signified by the two core rulers of the chart at this full moon. First ruler, of course, being the sun in Leo, which is also ruling Jupiter in Leo, which it is conjunct. These two planets are effectively operating as one. So what do you think when the sun in Leo, which is our personal creative expression, the brightness of this present moment, combines with Jupiter in Leo, which is creative wisdom? We step into our own creative wisdom. We understand and can tell stories about our lives with this conjunction. And that is one of two chart rulers we have going on right now, which concentrates so much energy into that theme. Now, the other chart ruler right now, which is ruling practically everything else, is actually a chain of rulership reception that moves through the moon in Aquarius, Uranus in Gemini, and Mercury in Cancer, which then is ruled by the moon in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury in Cancer, and that loop just continues infinitely in the time of this Aquarius full moon. Now, this rulership loop essentially speaks to the fact that we are feeling our own intellect more, which is the Aquarian realm of our lives, and we are feeling how our intellect has died. Pluto being in Aquarius with the moon speaks to the merging of our own personal relationship to our intellect and the complete transformation of that. So the inner identity that we have in our ego or our self-concept through our brain, through our maybe past social networks and past social groups. That's the moon in Aquarius. Being ruled by Uranus and Gemini right now will speak to a sudden conversation, something unexpected in the way we are using language to express this death, this transformation, and how we've known ourselves. And of course, Mercury in Cancer is an incredibly vulnerable and emotional rationale. It is the way we are structuring the new words and the new sentences, but through an emotional filter, through a lens of emotional self-protection, but also the expression of vulnerability and the expression of the growth and the change that we have been through. And of course, the empathetic nurturing that we want to be able to offer each other through our own words and our own reflections. The other part of this full moon is, of course, the fact that Venus in Virgo and Mars in Gemini are making their first quarter square to each other. Now, if you look at the chart, you'll see that actually the Sun and Jupiter here are at the exact midpoint between Venus and Mars, which to me is quite significant. Within this new social context, which is the full moon opposition itself, we have found ourselves very vulnerably sharing about our identity and who we are. And yet, in the midst of sharing about the part of us who is now dead, we are now also compelled to articulate with enormous precision who we are right now and the lessons that we've taken from this whole journey that we have been on. That's that first quarter square. Venus in Virgo is enormously precise, even in the way she socially relates. And Mars in Virgo just has a lot of data. So The expression of this precise identity that we are right now has been almost pushed out of us like a garlic press over the last few weeks. We've had so much new data that we have had to organize with this square, this first quarter square. And the sun and Jupiter being in the middle of that means that our role right now is really to be ourselves and let the pressure of what are we going to do with all of the data we have about ourselves, let that compound into a authentic creative expression of who we are right here and right now. It's almost like we've been forced to organize this data for this full moon itself, and yet expressing this data about our new identity is very vulnerable. It too is a first quarter square, that first decision that we've made to publicly share something, even if it's just with this one private party. Sharing something about an identity that we haven't been so confident to step into that much more fully, especially in the wake of how much has died in the past, how much has died when it comes to who we are, especially relative to who our friends are and who they have been, and how we have felt a sense of belonging to them. And now we are expressing that in a way that's healthy and that's meaningful and that is effective. So it's pretty extraordinary that both the Venus-Mars square and the full moon perfect on the same day. That is exactly what's happening at this full moon in Aquarius, either literally or metaphorically. We are expressing something about who we are right now to a new group of people. And that in that expression, we are admitting the grief and the death that we have experienced and that we are likely still overcoming at this time, and yet we express ourselves squarely from a new vantage point. And this is truly the beginning of a whole much larger change in how we know who we are, not only individually but collectively, right? Imagine when a whole room of people are able to share with each other empathetically and yet with enough space and detachment that we can all breathe and witness each other in this process. To schedule a personal reading with me, go ahead and click the link below. And until the next time, bye for now.